Norman Manley Airport has been hailed as a miracle plane by the people who know of the many miracles that have been accomplished aboard. Orbis International and its team of doctors, nurses, engineers, and administrators from 10 countries have completed a major ophthalmic skills exchange program in Kingston. For the last 3 weeks, over 30 ophthalmologists from Jamaica and the Caribbean have participated in an intensive skill exchange program on the new DC-10 aircraft. An estimated $15 million was used to transform the aircraft to a mobile surgical training center, while $10 million worth of modern technology was donated to facilitate their venture to combat world blindness through training and education. On board the Orbis, over 50 surgical and laser procedures were demonstrated on patients selected for the purpose of teaching Jamaican and Caribbean doctors. Visiting professors from the United States and Italy gave their time free of charge to demonstrate these techniques. President of Orbis International, Oliver Foote, explained the need for Orbis.
There's something like 30 million people blind in the world who could see again if they received the proper medical treatment. So Orbis was thought of about 13 years ago as a forum that could fly from country to country, bringing all the eye doctors on board the plane and watching the live surgery as it's happening on this television monitor, and then learning new techniques. The patients come from the local hospital, KPH. They come out to the airplane. They are received by our nurses. They then get their anesthesia. They're taken into the operating room. They receive their surgery. They come back. They, in fact, then get better. They get rid of the anesthesia. And then they are taken down the steps into the ambulance and back to the hospital. And the following day, we bring the patients back into our laser room and we check their eyes and see if they're okay.
The Orbis is scheduled to leave the island for El Salvador on Saturday. Mr. Foote presented a list of $97,000 worth of equipment and material to the Minister of Health, Dr. Peter Phillips. The equipment will be used to help fight blindness in Jamaica. Dr. Phillips says the people and government of Jamaica owe Orbis International a great deal of gratitude.
Everybody shared in the miracle and the joy of this young girl, Crystal, from Clarendon, who after 6 years of blindness had her sight restored. Yesterday the other eye was restored, and that is just one example of the kind of miracle which will take place on account of Orbis International being here.
Orbis International is not expected to return to Jamaica until the year 2000, for that's how long it will take the team to complete its worldwide journey. Sonia Chin, JBC News. Vacations limited in Kingston. Workers stopped working Tuesday morning to protest against what they believe was the wrongful dismissal of their co-worker, Carlene Ward. Workers say Telmar supervisor Valerie Kirby gave no justifiable reason for Mrs. Ward's dismissal on Monday afternoon.
She went in the bathroom for about 5 minutes or more. The supervisor came in there and asked her why she took so long in the bathroom. Apparently she walked past her and come out because she didn't see any reason to explain to her because she was only in there 5 minutes. When she come outside, she was told that she was to be dismissed from work.
Mrs. Ward pointed out that she spoke to Telemar's manager, Mr. Otto Hall, about her dismissal.
He says 100% behind the signing out and I should go home. So I said, no, you're being unfair. He said, no, she have all right to sign me out. So I said, okay, because I'm not going to argue with him because I care what I say. If them don't split justice inside here, right? Because I'm just trying to just carry the feelings to us, right? Anyway, I come out here waiting on my friend to go to school. I went outside there, right, and she come out there. She back a knife on me. I was to defend myself. Come to work this morning, they say I'm not to work, and in dismiss it, I'm fired.
Unfortunately, the news crew was unable to speak to the supervisor about these allegations, but we were able to speak with Mr. Hall just as he was leaving Telmar.
Well, as far as the company is concerned, we have taken the position that an employee was insubordinate. We have dismissed the employee. From that, the rest of employees have taken objection to it, and we are looking at the matter.
Okay. Can you say how long it will take for you to come up with a decision whether you're going to reinstate this employee?
Over the next 24 hours. It's unlikely that we'll reinstate the employee, but we'll consider the matter during the next 24 hours.
There has been allegations about the supervisor being unfit as a supervisor, threatening some of the staff. How do you feel about the supervisor's position at this time?
The supervisor body of Telemar Jamaica is a young, growing staff. The group will come on, they'll make mistakes, and they will develop in the position. We have no problem to the individual supervisors. We are sending supervisors back to other educational institutions to develop them. They came to the ranks as key as like the employees you have now met, and they have been promoted through time. We're working on their academics and their personality, and it will grow as they go along. So we're not offended by this individual.
However, staff members urge that if Mrs. Ward is fired because of the altercation, which occurred off of Telemar's property, so should the supervisor. How long are you willing to stay out here?
As long as them don't give her no good reason why they're going to fire her, we're going to stay out here forever, for the rest of the week.
Sonia Chin, JBC News.
To the head, left one man. A single gunshot to the head left one man dead on Beeston Street in downtown Kingston. Around 9:30 Tuesday morning, 26-year-old Anthony Allen, also known as Ricky, a mechanic of 19 Shoe Lane in Franklin Town, was shot in the ear. Allegations are that Stewart and another man were on a bike when the other man reportedly opened fire.
This man and another man were both traveling on a bicycle eastward along Beeston Street, and that as soon as I got to here, the man riding the bicycle removed the firearm from his waist, shot this man in the region of his left ear, then pushed him off the bicycle and continued riding.
The last time his sister, Annie Allen, saw him was earlier Tuesday morning when he was leaving to take her daughter to school.
I have a 6-year-old daughter going to school. Them come and say I'm going 2 hours, and then I'm going to turn to buy something and come back. I didn't see him turn up. I was washing the baby clothes to go on, and then somebody come to me and say I'm dead. I'm going to say, Ricky dead? He say, yes. I'm going to say, Ricky come here this morning, come see and say, he might take her at school. I'm going to turn and come back and give me something to cook. I'm going to come here and say I'm dead.
Police are seeking help from the residents in solving this crime, but at this time no one is willing to talk because they fear they might be next. For JBC News, I'm Sonia Chin.
Good evening. I'm Sonia Chin. This evening we visit downtown Kingston for the staging of the first Gold Street Talent Contest. It was a night of togetherness for the youthful residents of two of Kingston. Well, that's our program for this evening. Join us next week for a little extra. Good night.
Lines at this hour. The strike threat by the island's teachers appears to have been averted for this week. The teachers have decided, however, to set a schedule for positive action after Friday's common entrance examination. Up to news time, talks were still being held between the National Workers Union and the Alpart management at the Ministry of Labor. Alpart's general manager, Gene Miller, says his company is losing millions of U.S. dollars because of the strike, which is now in its third day. The Jamaica Public Service Company has launched a drive to collect more than $600 million owed by customers. The collection program will start next Wednesday, February 1, and customers who miss the payment date listed on their bills will have their service disconnected. The police in Bath St. Thomas, as well as investigators from Kingston, as this evening continuing investigations into this morning's killing of 20-year-old Lorna Grant. Mrs. Grant common-law husband, 23-year-old Denzel Strawn, is a suspect in the alleged murder. In news overseas, the French Prime Minister Edouard Balladur had his electricity supply cut off at his country home because he failed to pay his bill on time. The bill of about 1,800 francs became overdue at the end of December. And emergency appeals are going out for doctors and nurses to go to Kobe, Japan. A flu epidemic has broken out among the thousands of people left homeless by last week's massive earthquake. That's headlines at 6. Details of these and other stories coming up in Primetime News at 7. See you then.
there has been a 2% increase for the first 3 weeks of the winter season when compared with the same time last year. According to a deputy director at the JTB, Roy Miller, at least 57,000 tourists arrived in the island between December 1st and 21st. In Ocho Rios, hoteliers are happy to see the increase in tourist arrivals. At the Jamaica Grand in Ocho Rios, Director of Sales and Marketing, Barbara Lulich, says the number of tourists at the hotel is not breaking any records, but it is an improvement from last year's figures.
Business has been healthy. Forecasting looks a lot better for 95 January, February than it did at this time last year.
Of the 90% average, at least 8% of the guests are locals. Guests at the Jamaica Grand say they're very happy that they chose Jamaica as their vacation destination, despite the negative publicity the island has received from the foreign press.
Well, I've never been here before, and it just seemed like a logical place to go. The travel agent recommended it. We tried it.
She chose it.
We wanted to go someplace warm and beautiful, and this is it.
My parents came here in August, and they wanted us to have some of the fun that they had, so they brought us back here.
My mom chose to come here, so, I mean, that's why I came, but if I could come back here ever, I think I would, because it's like the best place I've ever been, seriously.
The increased number of tourists are also making life a lot better for the many other industries that depend on them. Car rental agencies such as Caribbean Car Rentals is reporting an increase in business.
As you can see, we are like totally booked out at the moment.
The craft market vendors are also grateful that the tourism market is on the rise and are hoping this trend is a good indication that the 95 season will be better than last year's. Sonia Chin, JBC News.
Anyone injured? What is your name? You don't want to give your name? It's just at the corner of Beeston Street? Okay, we'll go with it.